Good afternoon. My name is Apolo Herrera. We're here at Ahal Iboga, Playa del Carmen at our facility. And today we are going to talk with Jose. We're going to talk about him, what brought him here, and the reason why he's here with us today. Okay, so go ahead, Jose.
Well, I came here because it was my last shot at treatment. I tried everything from a program in the States called Narcanon. It was a 90-day treatment center. I stayed there for 90 days. I ended up working there for 3 months after the treatment center. Had some sober time afterwards, but always had the craving to continue using. And it was more like I was cold knuckling it. I've been to several 30-day treatment centers. I left early, or I would sneak drugs into the treatment centers and get kicked out, or I would finish them and then just continue using. Nothing seemed to work. I relocated cities several times in order to escape my addiction, but every time I would move, the problem was I was always there. You know, it was always me that was the problem. It wasn't other people or other influences or other factors. It was always this urge within me that I could never kick. So when I researched this program and I saw the great reviews about it and I talked with Apollo, something felt right about it. And it's been a life-changing experience for me.
How many days so far?
I think today is my 9th day, which is amazing to say because I've been here, 9 days, and after the first treatment, I couldn't imagine feeling any better than I did that first treatment. And I did a second treatment and it was even more than before. And I did another treatment today and it's been the most amazing process ever. I literally feel cured. Not to say that I couldn't make the choice to go back and do drugs again, but the urge just isn't there in my head. And that's coming from somebody who struggled with drug addiction for 20 years. You know, I did methamphetamine for a good 15 years of my life every day, multiple times a day. I couldn't go without it. And it got to the point where I hated being high. You know, I was completely malnutritioned. I mean, I look completely different today. I look like maybe I've never done drugs today, but in reality, I have the scars on my body from doing it. And this program is just absolutely amazing. Like, it's a life changer. You know, it is well worth every penny I've spent here. The people here are amazing. Everybody is so loving and caring from the moment you walk in. They make you feel comfortable. The facility is like sacred to me. You know, I will be forever grateful for the people here, for Apollo, for everybody involved with this process.
Perfect. Sounds like it was like destiny meant to be, because
Absolutely.
The way it happened in this case with Jose is that he called last Saturday. I remember around in the morning, or no, I actually called really late, right? That was, and I was like, oh, let's talk tomorrow. And this is like last Friday, a week ago. And somehow, some way, he showed up like 2 days after we spoke the day. And then, like he said, something in my voice, something like, go ahead, like, something that he was willing to do on his own, and here we are right now. So this is another real testimony in the way that how Iboga works. And like he was saying, he's been here since last Saturday, so it's 8 days, around that. He did 2 treatments of Iboga. We actually, what happened? How was the process? If you want to share a little bit when you got here, sure. And what did we do, or what did you do?
Yeah, so the first day I showed up, they took blood work, I saw a doctor, they did blood work, the urine test, test positive for drugs I didn't even know I was doing. I thought I was only doing meth, but I tested positive for ecstasy and amphetamines and all sorts of other stuff, crazy. But one of the hardest things for me is the detox process coming off of meth, the just overwhelming like exhaustion and anxiety that comes with coming off of meth. It's hard to get past day 2, and like the one thing for me is not being able to feel any pleasure from doing anything in life. I would be like, you know, going to the beach was like an air. It was like a drag, a chore. To like go to the beach should be something enjoyable. People spend thousands of dollars to come to Mexico to go to the beaches, and I live close to the beach, and it was like I didn't even want to go because nothing felt good except for doing drugs. And I know from the science behind it, I've been through so many rehabs before, that, you know, it damages the dopamine receptors in your brain. Yeah. So when I got my first treatment, whatever it does in the brain, you can literally feel it flooding your brain with the medicine, and literally feel it repairing your brain. And it's a process that it's intense, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel bad. You come out of it with a little bit of a hangover, kind of tired, groggy a little bit. But the next day I woke up and it was like I was a different person. You know, it was like literally like I was rebirthed into the person that I used to be before drugs, before I, you know, like I grew up like a normal American life. You know, I had my mom and my dad. I went to a good school. I grew up in suburbia. Like I had no reason to be out there on the streets doing drugs every night, stealing stuff to fuel my addiction, getting in all sorts of trouble. I had every opportunity in the world, but for some reason I just did drugs. And so when I came out of that, when I woke up the second day after my first treatment, it was like I was me again. Like the anxiety, the stress, the hatred for myself, for everything I've done in my past, like stealing from my family, lying to them constantly letting down my mom, all that like melted away. And my family has been a very strained relationship for a long time. And when I talked to my mom after my first treatment, it was like she heard it in my voice. She could hear the change in me, you know. And I think moms have a second sense of knowing when they talk to their kids if they're okay or not, whether or not they're, you know, lying to them like, oh yeah, mom, I'm doing great. And you're kind of not, you know, and my mom could hear it in my voice, and, you know, we're great now. And, you know, I talk to my mom every day. She's still fearful that I might go back because, like I said, I've been so many times in rehab, probably 8 or 9 times, honest to God, between court-ordered treatments and voluntary treatments and forced treatments, and, you know, like doing it because it was the only thing I had left to do other than living on the street. Going to a treatment center was like a last option. You know, and then just relapsing right after I left or shortly after I left. But I truly feel like there's no way that I will ever do drugs again. There's no desire in my brain. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing how it rewires your brain and resets your brain to
36 hours.
Yeah, 36 hours to just be a normal human being again, and to be able to wake up at 6:30 a.m. and have energy and like enjoy going for a walk, you know, like, or like enjoy talking to people. I was at the point where I didn't even want to be in public. I didn't want to talk to people. If I was standing in line at Walmart, I'd be super anxious, like people are looking at me and all sorts of stuff, and, you know, not eating, and I looked pale, and like, you know, like my eyes were dark. And like just the other day, one of the ladies says, wow, your eyes are so beautiful. And, you know, like the color behind my eyes were gone, you know, like it was like I had big dark circles under my eyes and there's no light behind my eyes. And now I feel, honestly, I just feel alive again. You know, I'm not like a drug monster, like going through the motions, trying to look normal, you know?
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, it's I definitely, my case was similar when I was, you know, using too. So I feel the same way. You know, my family was not around because of my own guilt.
Didn't want to become co-addicted.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for being honest. And now, if you, now that you here today and you live in 2 days from today, actually, it's a weird or small world. Today is his birthday, and today is my birthday. Yeah. So
July 4th.
Happy birthday! You know, it's like, hey, you know, it was just destiny. You know, we had a small little birthday cake yesterday. You know, here at the clinic. So, and it was a sober birthday. You know, he was like, hey, when was the last sober birthday you had? He's like, I can't even think about it.
Maybe when I was like 15.
So that's the best And his birthday present was like, today is the buffo time. So now you want to talk about that today? He actually did it this morning.
Yeah.
And
that was amazing. That was an experience that I think everybody in the world should have at least one time. It's a completely spiritual process, like done in the right setting. I think, like I know people may do it on the outside, but here in the clinic, it's a completely spiritual process with Gustavo, and they sit there with you during the process, and they coach you through what to expect and how to travel through the process. And it was, like I said, like after the first treatment, I couldn't imagine feeling any better. Then the second treatment was like mind blowing again. But after today, it's like I literally felt all the stress and all the worry and all the anxiety just melt out of my body. And like I came out of it like I have never seen before in my life. Like I've never used my eyes before. The colors were vivid. I was crying. But tears of joy, like it was just the most amazing process. The hardest thing I've ever been able to do in my life is forgive myself for some of the horrible things I did during my addiction. And after today, I feel completely at peace and harmony and centered within myself, and that's coming from somebody who, if you would have known me before and known how I walked around with a dark cloud over my head, that's a statement to be heard for sure.
And this is, his time, he's going to become a father.
Yeah.
And this is looking like aligning, right?
Yeah.
In the good direction. And I'm happy for you. And I'm happy that. How do you find us, by the way? You said on Google or?
Like I had Googled rehabs on, and there's not a whole lot of options. I live here in Playa del Carmen. I grew up my whole life in the States in Colorado. And then I moved to Florida to try to escape my addiction. And then I moved to Port of Air to try to escape my addiction again. But I ended up here in Playa del Carmen, and it's not a big city. There's not a big variety of treatment centers. But when I found this place, they had like hundreds of 5-star reviews. I mean, I ran a business in the States. It's hard for a business to have every single review be like a 5-star. You know what I mean? Like it's like impossible. You always have somebody you just can't please, it seems like. But when you have a program like this that works like that, and you have like 100 5-star reviews, that says something, And after talking with him about the process, and to be honest, I was very skeptical, because I was thinking, man, I need like at least 30 days, I think,
I remember
like
that.
I don't understand like how this can work in 1 or 2 treatments, like a week, but
yeah, he actually asked for additional time, and I said, all right, 10 days. So we agreed 10 days. And, yes, I remember.
Yeah.
So now going on the back to the Iboga treatment, sorry.
Yeah.
There was a time when he did the first treatment that he said in his mind, he said, I don't think I can do a second treatment, right? That's very important for people to know, especially people that has been doing drugs, abuse substance or trauma or for a long time, like veterans, for instance, And he was here. There was 2 people prior. He got here. There was a girl from Canada, and there was a gentleman that still's here from New York. So he saw the process. He spoke to them, and that kind of gave him like a little bit more trust, I guess, on the first day. But then the process of like when you were like, oh, I don't think I can hand this a second time. But then
well, when I said that, it was because you come out of it and you feel kind of groggy, and I threw up just a little bit, and that's like a normal part of the process. But I remember I was sitting on the toilet. Like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, I don't know if I can do another one, But like when I slept that night and I woke up the next morning, I felt rebirthed. Like that hangover was gone. The sick feeling I had in my stomach was gone. And
it was like, when is the next one?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so. It's not a painful process. It's not a process that, is, it's not like it makes you sad or depressed. It's quite the opposite. It repairs your brain. Like, I don't know the science behind it too much, but I know that it worked for me. And that's saying somebody who's damaged their brain I'm 41 today, and I've damaged my brain since well into my 20s, probably since I was, started smoking weed when I was like 16, definitely was doing cocaine when I was 18, 19. So what was that, 20, 22 years or so, so
it's a long time.
So long time, steady drug use.
Depression, PTSD, all that, right?
trauma,
anxiety.
depression, and mainly just hate for myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like I really hated myself. And that's why I did drugs, to kind of bottle down those emotions so that I didn't have to feel anything. And so then I wasn't able to show love to my family, to show love to my wife, and show love, and really just to love myself, because I honestly hated myself for it. And the funny thing is I kept doing the one thing I did every day that made me hate myself, which was drugs. But at the same time, it was the devil I knew, and it was the only way to purge forward. You know, like I couldn't just stop doing drugs on a Friday, because by Monday, it's like I had to go to work. You know what I mean? I had to like put on the show for anybody who was still around in my life. Like maybe I'm doing okay, when really it was like I wasn't okay at all, you know? But ever since coming here, it has been life transforming. Like it has been something I can't believe I didn't find before. I wish I had done this 20 years ago, you know what I mean? And it would have saved me 20 years of pain, and everybody in my family, saved them from all that grief. But my family is forever thankful. They are, every time I talk to them, they keep saying, I'm so grateful you found this place. Like, it's amazing. It was in Playa del Carmen where I moved. Like, how coincidental, but I guess it's destiny, you know?
Yeah, it's all meant to be for a reason. And no doubt that it's a positive thing. And another thing that part of the treatment process, very important, Jose, is that a good thing is that you live here. So we're going to continue the integration part, which is very, very important for you. This is where the main key is out of the whole process of the healing or integration or aftercare. What do you do after? Because like right now he feels like a lot of people say like $1,000,000, but at the same time, what's next? What's next for me? You know, what am I gonna do? I feel good. I don't got the cravings. I don't got the desire. The withdrawals. So, but what is it that I need to do, right? Because I went through in my personal process of healing that it's been 12 years now. So since you live here, we're gonna keep continuing once a week. He's gonna be coming here for therapy in person, and we have the sweat lodge, the temazcal, which he's gonna probably do before you go. You're gonna have the opportunity to do that, and I think you're gonna enjoy that. And then we just encourage you to keep doing something. The process is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, because the process, the real process is right now when you walk out of here. Right?
You reset your brain, but do you go back to the same habits you had before, right?
So changes, environment, people, family, whatever you need to do in order to be in peace within you, whatever add, follow it. Whatever doesn't add and it's not good for you, just let it go. You need to learn, and sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's family members, sometimes it's friends, it's co-workers, whatever it is, you know, so.
And I think a lot of people might struggle with, like, I have a job waiting for me when I get out, but like, I know from experience getting out of a rehab and not having like a job or friends or anything like that. But as long as you purge forward, good things happen to people who are doing the right thing. Opportunities find you when you're doing drugs and you're doing the wrong things. Drugs find you. The people who are doing drugs find you. You know, it's like you attract who you are. So if you come out and you have good intentions and you have good energy moving forward, opportunities will arise. You'll find friends, and I've met people here that I'll be friends with for life. You know, like some of the staff here. I live here, so you know, some of the staff here
becomes like family. It's like a universal family.
The lady who just left for Canada, we talk on the phone. I talked to her last night actually, and she's doing good. And you know, she said she's going to come back to Playa del Carmen, you know, in a few months or at the end of the year and visit and
tune up. There's a aftercare program. It's called like a tune-up. You know, you come back in 6 months, 9 months. That doesn't mean you have to be doing Iboga forever. No, it's just something that if you want to pursue and follow up, it's an option. It's not mandatory, or it's not something that you need. But we notice that it's very, very beneficial. You know,
helpful for some people for sure.
I mean, I've been doing this for the last decade, 10 years, a little bit more now. 2014, I had the experience of, I had the opportunity. And there's three things, like I tell everybody, there's three things that don't come back to us, which is our life, time, and also opportunities, and this can be a huge opportunity. This is a new way of getting off abuse substances, getting off heavy traumas, heavy anxiety. All that is just banished. It's just too good to be true.
So
how can a plant in an alkali, can do that to our brain? And this is God, putting this plant in Africa and, in certain places in Africa, like Gabon, Cameroon, and all those areas. And they use it as the different, like initiations. They use it for cure. That's the word that they use to cure infirmities and addictions and all those things. But it's a little bit different, which is a different thing. Iboga and Iboga, it's two different things. But Iboga is extract from the Iboga plant. So a lot of people get confused still on that. So, well, all I can say to you, Jose, is that it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
And I wish you the best. And
absolutely.
Who will you recommend this to? Who in any way you can recommend it?
I think, honestly, everybody on the planet could use this process, whether you struggle with addiction or trauma, or just you have a stressful job, or your anxiety. Like, my dad's actually going to come do it.
Yeah.
He wants to come do it. My dad is kind of a manager of a manager type personality. Like, he's always been like a vice president of a real estate company, owned his own real estate companies in the States. And, he's always been very stressed out, very like high strung type of man. And he's going to come I'm going to tell him to do the booth.
I think it will be beneficial.
Yeah, it could be beneficial for anybody who has overwhelming stress.
Not only addictions,
but addictions, it works miracles. The 90-day programs, they work for some people. It did not work for me. The Narconon program, which is a different approach than 90-day step, that did not work for me. And I don't think there's any other approach to addiction treatment other than like shock therapy, maybe, or this.
Cold turkey.
Yeah, or cold turkey, but that's the one that almost never works. But yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and hope we'll see you next time. Thank you.